Hope you guys can hear me. Tonight, today rather, I just spent 4 hours with my Garifuna community in Honduras, by the way, my name is Pablo Blanco. This is Mabriga Garinago, the channel that talks about Garifuna history, land struggle, anything affecting Garifuna community from the social, political, and economic standpoint. So earlier today, I had a conversation with my brothers from Honduras. There are 48 Garifuna communities in Honduras. We arrived there in 1796 after being banished from St. Vincent in the Caribbean. We are the indigenous Caribbean community. We're Native American and African. We're a mixture of Native American and African. We currently live in Belize, Honduras, Guatemala, and Nicaragua, and throughout the United States and Europe. So we have been having some issues with the authorities in each of the countries in Central America. In this instance, is Seine Bight. Seine Bight is a Garifuna community that was established around 1802 in Belize, and they're having some issues regarding a gas station that's going to be built in a Dabuyaba, which is a Garifuna spiritual temple. And we are protesting that. There are persons who are involved in some nefarious activities. We're going to get an update from Garifuna Nation Ambassador at Large Cynthia Ellis and other people as well about the current situation over there in Seine Bight. So for now, while we wait for them, I will play some music in the meantime. While we wait for Cynthia and our other brothers and sisters to give us an update. Just give me a second here. I'm gonna go to one of my favorite bands. SoundCloud account, because I like listening to their music. This band is Bodoma Garifuna Culture Band. They trying to restore our ancestral rhythms. I was raised here in New York, but I love our ancestral rhythms. We have about 6 popular ones. And this particular band performs them. Something wrong with something went wrong with SoundCloud. Okay. So I'll play a song that touches me, a couple of songs that touch me from a couple of my favorite Garifuna artists, which speaks to the times that we're currently living in right now. You guys can just bear with me for a second here. Okay, here's the music from Bodoma.
si dilibagiano mama wamamugu wanatialo Marie rubagina nakira masibili rubagina zanira rubagina sagu tuamusagu wa mengi ya wapandira ninya. Ah, di biguda wa mengi ya wapandira ninya.
Okay. Ambassador at large. Can you hear me, Cynthia? Cynthia, can you hear me? Cynthia, you have unmuted your mic. Just give her a couple of seconds. We're talking to Ambassador at Large from the Garifuna Nation. She's currently in Seine Bight Belize now. Seine Bight is located in a peninsula in Belize, surrounded by water. From the pictures that I've seen, it's a very nice, picturesque place. It's originally inhabited by the Garifuna people. Now there's a lot of land laws happening now, and there's a vicious land grab happening in Belize as well. Just like in Honduras, the people of Seine Bight have been engaged in a struggle with a gas station, which is being built by a supermarket, by the owners of a supermarket rather. Cynthia will give us more information regarding what's going on. So let's give her a couple of moments so she could brief us regards to what's going on in Seine Bight. I have two streams going on. Let me turn off one. Let me continue playing the music while we get to hear from Cynthia, Ambassador at Large for Garifuna Nation.
Khadimure tambu tabuya baru. Erere uja no itamusaga imamusaga. Lura bahunya hiri mainara buye. Wawati hawagu lipanya ni sinabwe gungia murigawa murachaga warachaga yamuinari etouja migusi tabu ya misunga habu swa haribu higo nyugwa nubaligi seire nyugwa nubaligi seire ao mawu kayo nyugwa nubaligi seire yajabu ao rabune amurnoni yajabu Malaga badinare boga malaga badinare boga malaga badinare boga malaga badinare boga oh amen
Garifuna sa anyagawa bute amunyego. Garifuna sa ayanu ha Garifuna numa amunyego. Garifuna sa aruma hanuma o amunyego. Garifuna sa adugraha wawo amunyego. Chulu halidanu la reida ho. Chulu halidanu la rufuda ho. Chulu halidanu la reida ho. Baby wayali kukubaye. Garifuna sa anyagawa bute amunyega. Garifuna sa ayanu ha Garifuna numa amunyega. Garifuna sa aruma ha numa o amunyega. Garifuna sa adugraha wa o amunyega. Agenda kwati wayunago luhabagalitu kigari nago wakia mesa aferidire wagabure matega wame. Agamba kumanya gibrindo arufta ho isanigo were luma were muha wafielu mawabita. Garifuna sa anyagawa bute amunyego. Garifuna sa ayanu ha Garifuna numa amunyego. Garifuna sa aruma hanuma o amunyego. Garifuna sa adugraha wa o amunyego. Chulu halidalu la reida ho. Chulu halidalu la rufuda ho. Chulu halidalu la reida ho. Baby wayani kumukubaye. 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 Baby wayani
Greetings,
The original Peloton bike offers more motivation.
Great job, team!
70% of members say they work out more now with Peloton than before.
Sorry about that. Greetings, Laverne. Greetings, Cynthia. Can you guys hear me? Your mic is muted, Laverne. You gotta unmute your mic. There you go. I can hear you now. How you doing, Leonard? The mic is up.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yes.
Oh,
you
okay.
Good,
That's
Leonard.
good.
You did about ready. You did being.
Yes. Margaret Naibogia.
What do you got?
Yes.
Você lê sister lê Seine Bight. Vou roubar Leonard. Pero
Yeah.
kung sa wama, kaya tingin ko ni Linda Garifuna.
Yeah.
To get down, tell Joe you have to
Mm-hmm.
make Joe thing, you know, Joe not understand.
Mm-hmm. So, ira biangi.
Who do you got?
Pablo. Okay. Margaret. Mm-hmm.
And they what you call it, you start baby.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, ma'am.
People told us there was some activities going on today in Seine Bight.
Yeah. Yeah. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Okay.
And today we were along today at business places and educating the people them about about our rights and so other stuff. Make them know that our right, make them look for our right, because when we got into in most of the business there, they don't have nothing there with the Garifuna people. Everything in most of the businesses are like for the Mayas. So we really wonder why, because then this is a Garifuna community, and then if you see that the lone Maya thing they were displaying in their business,
Okay, so this is the point.
Are you hearing me?
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. So you're educating the community on customary rights.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So basically just letting the people know why they should fight for this customary rights.
Right. Right. That's what we're doing. Yeah.
Okay. I see Brother Arthur Williams there.
Yeah.
Arthur, you could unmute your mic. We would like to hear from you. You're live today with
Yeah.
Arthur Williams here. First and foremost, I would like to say thanks to all who are in this fight with us here in Seine Bight Village. We welcome the solidarity from our brothers and sisters from Honduras, Nicaragua, St. Vincent in America, and our Garifuna villages here in Belize. This fight is a fight that will go down in history, as our political leaders has been doing stuff to us and everybody just stay on mute. It's time that we, the Garifuna people, wake up and do what we have to do in order to put this to an end. The unfortunate situation here in Seine Bight, for a fact, has brought international scrutiny. And I want to welcome everybody who is assisting us in this endeavors, and we know that we are not alone, because our brothers and sisters and our ancestors are with us. So I would like to say thanks to you guys there in Honduras who are much with us. So it's a pleasure to be a part of this historic fight, and I will continue to fight along with my people.
Thank you, Arthur. We have won 2 court cases at the Inter-American Court of Justice in Honduras, Triunfo de la Cruz and Punta Piedra, around similar situation that you guys are having there in Seine Bight. So I'm interested in how things develop, and I want to keep on, getting an update from you guys and how the case is progressing, because eventually there has to be a case generated against these people that's doing this to us. So over there in Seine Bight, I know that the gas station is next to the Buyaba.
That is correct. That is correct. It's within 10 meters, I would say, within 10 to 50 meters from the Daweba. So yes, it is near Daweba. And it's an unfortunate situation that us the Garifuna in this country, the laws in this country does not much enforce the indigenous rights. The Mayans recently won a case in the court, and that case that the Mayans won would have given us the Garifuna the same privilege. However, now the time that we are fighting to get our privilege, we at Seine Bight, the first start. It's the first start, and this fight begins in Seine Bight. So I want to thank everybody who is with us so that we can get this recognition in this country as Garifuna people.
Yes, we are definitely in solidarity with you, Brother Arthur. I mean, we're looking at things here, with all solidarity with you, because we in this fight together. What happens in Belize affects us in Honduras as well, and Boga and Nicaragua. So we've seen everything, but we have solidarity with you, even though we're not there. We still have solidarity with you in this fight. And I just let in Brother Joseph Guerrero from the Garifuna Nation Land Rights Committee, and he's going to add context to this fight. He's currently connecting right now with us. Brother Joe, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
So we're here connecting with the people of Seine Bight.
Hello, are you hearing me, brother?
Loud and clear, Ambassador.
Yes, I'm just going to zoom. I'm just going to mute my mic so that others can get in who is involved in the meeting.
No problem, Brother Arthur. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Brother Pablo.
Yes.
Brother Pablo.
Yes.
I am now in through Sister Laverne's device.
No problem.
We are coordinating technology here. We had a very awesome day, and what we are doing is getting others connected to the Zoom. And we are situated at what we call point 0. That is where the atrocity of the gas station is located. And we noticed that a few days ago, a sign was put up by the public declaring that it is the site for community development. So it's interesting that after the fact that is taking place. So we are in consultation with attorneys and different people who are guiding us in moving forward. What is very clear that community action and community voice does make a difference before even going to court. And I want to affirm what the brother said earlier about the importance of international support and the support of others around the country and around the world. We have been receiving a lot of messages of solidarity, and that is very encouraging, because we are noticing is bigger than a gas station issue. This is about respect and affirmation of the Garifuna people and Garifuna Duo. So Sister Laverne and I went to Sensia, where declaring is Seine Bight. And we are acknowledging that we have a lot of work to do in terms of identifying not what we have lost, because there's no loss, there is gain, because we are declaring who we are as Garifuna Duo and what is our territory. And we're also declaring in this time of Belize independence, in the decolonization process, that Garifuna were independent long before the colonial rule was established. So we are educating ourselves and others about that fact, that we knew true independence, and that is part of the history that we are going house to house, and also every community business area to engage in a positive manner. We went to the tourism board, the BTIA, and we asked them if they were aware of what it means to be Garifuna. We went to different business places in so-called Placencia, which is Seine Bight, and we were asking about the promotion of Garifuna culture. And to our amazement, we found there was none, that tourism does not promote Garifuna. And we are not blaming anyone. We are taking the responsibility that Garifuna has to promote Garifuna. We went to a particular business place. Here, everything is Maya and Mestizo, and in a small corner was something about Garifuna. Imagine that. We did not quarrel with the business people. We offered to work along with them and let them know that Garif Nation is affirming and defining Garifuna, everything Garifuna. And they were amazed, they were very supportive and very interested, and therefore engaging everyone in this conversation that is wider than a gas station. In fact, we will have a conversation with the public and the developers and invite them to, first of all, make an apology to the people of Seine Bight, and also to invest in the people who have invested in them, because it is our people who are going to the store and purchasing from them. So this is the tone and the move that we are about. We are not quarreling. We are just inviting others to respect us. And we are joining with our brothers and sisters from around the world who are supporting us, who are having same kind of experience.
Yes, this is a worldwide thing. We see what's going on with our brothers in Cook County in Jamaica. You know, for us in Honduras, it's a continuous thing in which our human for time.
Yes.
As one community.
Around, I don't know if they want to make any comments. Sister Macaria is here, and she had the experience of the area representatives sending people to do a so-called petition. After, at the town meeting, we had agreed that we of the community will do our own investigation. So, Mrs. Macaria, please tell us how that experience went for you. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Sister
Can you hear everybody? Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
The one the people of Oyanamu.
My experience with the people for what Rodwell did, he sent 4 person come to my house. I can't tell them they were doing however, they have a paper that says, do you want a gas station? Right?
God bless you.
Paper paper says, do you want a gas station in Seine Bight? Yes, no. So I was explaining to them if the question was, do you want a gas station in Seine Bight? As we told them before that we open to developers, but we fight against the location where the gas station is presently at. When I get that paper from them, the question that was on that paper said if you want a gas station or no. So I had to tell them that they manipulate the people because at the other hand, so people not even know if to read, right? And so people just get the papers and probably just sign. Because for the paper that I received, I say more people say yes to the gas station than no. So I explained to the young lady, I said if they put say yes to the gas station, yes to the gas station, what I say the paper say gas station is you want a gas station in that location statement that was on that paper. So I personally took the paper and I tear up the paper. I mashed it and I dashed the paper away. And I went and I pick up the paper and I destroy the paper and make sure I tear it into pieces. So whosoever name was already on that yes paper, they need to go back and relocate those persons and have them resign. So that was my experience with them. And then I tell them, you know what? I make them know. Uno day in my yard. So it's best that uno take uno self out of my yard. I don't know. How uno ask before I get so that I have no idea to drive them away. And they were very obedient because I tell them that I tell one of the young lady that they're lucky because if any one of them that first bite, I might do it different. I might do this thing. So I tell her I forgive you no because you don't know nothing. They just manipulate you no. Right? So then that's why I did I make the gun, I make the gun for my head. Put that on hold.
So thank you. Anybody else?
Yes, good day. Hello. My brother here from Seine Bight Village who do arts and he's an entrepreneur and as mentioned earlier by Miss Cynthia Ellis, that our Garifuna culture is not being promoted. I just want this brother to give his first experience. He's a resident of Seine Bight, to give you guys his first-hand experience as an entrepreneur that goes about selling Garifuna product like drums and other art our grandfathers used to do. So I welcome you guys to Mr. Calvin Palacio, who will give his experience here as a Garifuna person and as an entrepreneur.
Hello, once again, I'm Calvin Palacio. What really took place here in Seine Bight, I want to build drums for my father in Florida, and I'm trying to do my best to keep the culture alive. But what transpired here in Seine Bight that like how Mr. Williams stated a while ago that we are bypassed, no one to look on us and they keep us at a piece of trash, so to speak. So at the end of the day, let me be specific to you guys once more that we have a gas station here by Publix, and the way how the chairman works and the way how we do things, and he don't keep consulting his people in Seine Bight, keep in touch with Seine Bight people. We are the ones putting in that there, be a shaman. So at the end of the day, he should keep on working along with us, dialogue along with us, and we'll do that. But at the end of the day, let me be specific to you guys. I'm still struggling with my art by making drums, building drums, maracas, and other stuff. So the little money what I make, I can't deny. So guys, once again, my people, we are fighting, and I want you guys to support us in Seine Bight. So this is what I got to say, guys. Thanks.
Okay, thank you very much. It's very beautiful the way how the community is coming around, and we are seeking legal advice from all directions. It's a time that we are learning and that we are learning and affirming our human rights. And it's not just for the people of Seine Bight, it's for Garifuna people from all over the country, all over the region, all over Central America, our brothers and sisters, our relatives, our indigenous people from South America, from the Caribbean, from the United States and Canada, and our African brothers and sisters. We want to thank you for the courage that you give us as you keep in what Garifuna duo and Garifuna spirituality. We want to thank the police who have been very and compassionate in their own way of recognizing that we are being our true authentic selves as Garifuna people, as we have not defied any of the laws of the land that is in a process of decolonization. So thank you, Brother Pablo, for giving us this space. And we are asking for people to continue to send words of solidarity, to be with us in prayer, to be guiding us, because what we are doing here is unraveling hundreds and hundreds of years of trauma, of genocide, and colonization. Therefore, we know that this is not going to be an overnight struggle. We are prepared as we are being called spiritually, and we are stepping into divine order, and God's will be done in this situation. So we give God thanks for everything.
Thank you, Ambassador Laws. Brother Joe, can you add some context? Because from what I understand, there was a survey that was done by the people of Seine Bight.
Correct. Well, Pablo, as you know, the situation with the gas station, which was just kind of dumped on the people of Seine Bight without their permission, without their consultation, without their free, prior, and informed consent. And there, since the fracas broke out, apparently this minister, Rodwell Ferguson, Honorable Minister Rodwell Ferguson, he decided by himself to take some kind of survey, he called it, so that he can know what the residents of Seine Bight wanted, knowing that there were many people who were opposed. In fact, there is a unscientific poll that was done by the residents, and they had well over the number of no or negative results, and the minister's poll had overwhelming positive results. And the minister's poll is just as unscientific. Wait, the minister's poll is just as unscientific. So it's irrelevant. It doesn't count. However, what's happening is that when the minister came again, as is the habit of the government of Belize, to just go into Garifuna territory and take over as if though they have any right to. The minister violated the rights of the people, number one, by not asking their permission to come into our territory, and number two, by bringing other people with him who did not get approval to be in our village. So the minister should be held accountable for such. The minister should be held accountable for violating the rights of Garinago. Now, what's happening here is that the minister was hoping he's going to take, I understand he's going to take the result of his unscientific survey to the cabinet to lie to the cabinet that the people of St. Bight want this investment by this investor at this particular place. And that is just not true. His poll is full of lies. And his poll should be dismissed by the cabinet of Belize should he go and report it to them. Now, as far as I know, the people of St. Bight, Garinago, have been there since before colonial times. And if that's the case, then the government, every time they come and force their policy upon the people, they're breaking international law. Okay? And I know the people, they want the investment, but what I would urge my people in St. Bight to understand is that it's not up to the government to give title away at all in our territory. It is not their call. And we, the Garinago, are quite capable of making such deals ourselves to have development in our land. We don't need the government to give someone with money title to our land. No, that's illegal. We want that to end. That's how we got into this place in the first place. That's how we arrived here, by allowing the government to give titles to our land. So let's reverse it. And I see Arthur is showing us the area now. That's what they did without the consent of the people, Pablo. That monstrosity is what they did without the consent of the people. So legally, the government of Belize is violating international rights. They're violating the local precedent set by the Maya land rights case. Judge Contes said that the government should cease and desist from using Garifuna lands, in the Maya land, in the registry of Belize, the land registry of Belize, and that the government should not transfer or register or convey the lands. That's what was said in the Maya land rights case in the judgment. And since it's based on law, the constitutional law of Belize, then that same constitutional law applies to the Garifuna. And the government has known this since 2007, but they have ignored Judge Conte's ruling. And recently, the minister,
yes. Something. Yes, hello.
Go ahead.
What happened is that the methodology used by the minister is this. Presently, there's a lot of unemployed people in the village due to the pandemic COVID-19. Also, this is slow season for the tourism industry. The tourism industry will open back in November. So right now, the tourism industry is going down, or it's almost collapsed due to, it does have a season. So this is slow season, or it's almost done, the tourist season. Now, people on this peninsula, on this area, most of them earn their revenue through tourism, especially the female, the women. Okay, good. The government of Belize is giving away what we call a pantry that assists unemployed people or people who don't have an income, for that matter. So some household does get some groceries or some small token, a small token. Now the minister is responsible for that and the chairman of this village. So they use those privileges that they have to manipulate the people who do not have. So it's like they collect the pantry, they sign on the petition, and they leave. Or they collect the little token because life is challenging right now for everybody due to COVID-19. So also, they are using that as their strength to manipulate our Garifuna people due to dependency. So that is one of the methodology used by the area representative, Roderick Ferguson, to obtain his signatures. And it is a fact because I witnessed it.
And thus, Roderick Ferguson, Brother Roy, you'll be happy to know he wasted his money because his poll or survey, as he called it, is no good anyway. It's illegal, it's no good, and we declare it so because you cannot come on our land without our free, prior, and informed consent. And if he does so, anything he does after that is illegal.
Not only that, Seine Bight is divided into 4. We have the Santuaro area, the Bubila area, the Cocal area, and the Augustinville area. Now we have Spanish Town. So if you want to, for example, if you want to build a gas station in Belize, you don't go to Guatemala and ask them if you want a gas station in Belize. You have to ask the people who are affected in the area if they want it there. So how smart is the minister and how idiotic he is to go and ask somebody that live in Guatemala if they want a gas station in Belize? That's low. That's a low blow. It's a disrespect for us. It's a disrespect to himself. And I believe that if he have a heart, he would change what he has done, because I will not stop this fight, because my fight is genuine and our fight is genuine. So it's in that spirit that I, Arthur Roy Williams, is on board this fight, because the minister has no right to try to deceive our people. He has deceived our people and has used that pantry program and those monies that the government of Belize is issuing to the people in order to manipulate the marginalized. And that's for a fact. So it's very sad that that has to happen, but it's on the ground and it is what it is.
And that is one of the mechanisms. Thank you so much, Mr. Roy, for bringing that out, because that's one of the mechanisms of deceit that is often employed upon the whole Belizean public. And it just so happens at this time, the deceit is being employed on the Garinago of Seine Bight Village to manipulate them. And it's a good thing that, you know, we have conscious Garifuna like Mr. Roy and others there who see what's happening, and they alerted the public through social media to what was happening. And that's the reason why that we know the government was again invading Garifuna space. In fact,
Joe.
Yes, ma'am.
I want to add on a little bit to what Mr. Roy was talking about, and what happened is not only the rep money, but this Colombian are also backing knapsack with money. They pay off people too, right? And a lot of bribery, because even front of while we are protesting, while we demonstrate.
Are you saying, Ms. Laverne, are you saying he had a knapsack full of money to pay bribes while they were conducting?
Yes, and
what you're saying?
Yes, while they walk around with that list, collecting names, they have a knapsack of money, and because people rush here, right? They never think for take the pictures, but they rush here because they could tell me. And then the thing is, they walk in the area rep, the Colombian man, and the chairman, but they take the back street, right? And that's not correct, because the amount of bribery up to when we go and protest. One of the counselor come and call the man. I have the pictures, and I think I don't send out the pictures already. When the man come and for the bicycle and pay off the man, the same man that I interview and post on Facebook, and he pay off that man there and buy food for him. That the sure that what I'm talking about from long time, that he want to block on my house, that he gone in my house and he wanted to block on my house and rebuild my house, furnish it, give me groceries every week and give me our money. Then he gone to my sister, bribe my sister. Yeah, that's the way he bribed me. Then he gone to my sister. First, he gone to my brother-in-law. He said that he don't want to move my brother, because my brother may kind of get crazy because of the noise. And then he tell him that he can't make decision about my brother, that he have to either talk to Macaria or me about my brother, so that he could make Kara that sell grass, and he may pay everything for my brother until the project over. That's the thing, the bribery. You know, and we can't tolerate much more of that, because then that's why the people, they must vote yes. And for their vote, I guaranteed this house here, the left and this house here, we tear up most of the paper. So when they said they got 200 and odd vote, they were lying, because when they reach out, the paper was empty. The paper was empty. Make the paper the road. Yeah. And then when they do their counting, they don't even come to none of us. They don't even call the public and say, you know what, we are going to send somebody out there for make the do the survey. They not do that. Then they don't even announce the counting. Neither know what part of counting, because the rate that they have the gathering right at the chairman mother house. right?
And they announce it on the radio. Like,
And then they come and they announce it the next day. Oh, Seine Bight people said that they want gas station. That one sentence thing that they put on a paper, I have the paper right here, because I already forgot I love FM and all the radio station, because that they know how I do it. I love TV. I love TV and I love Radio Belize and I love police. I always tell it because I already forgot a quote. Right? I have the paper. I just showed the liar that I got the paper. That's where we tear up. Right? And then the paper, they even full.
and they announce it.
They're not full. And then they said, Seine Bight people want gas station. If they put a sentence, do you want a gas station, yes or no? That's total nonsense, because we tell them we want a gas station, but it's not at the location. They don't understand English, then something wrong with them people. Yeah. They don't understand that. Then they mislead the people, them. That's a total nonsense. We can't tolerate anything there.
And so this is indicative, Pablo, of what the government of Belize has been doing to Garinago as inheritors of the colonial system. They even made it worse because they took away, when we became so-called independent, they took away so much more of the land grab. It was just free for all with Garifuna territory. And so I think that it's now time that this comes to a halt, that it stops, that because Garifuna can now go back to being the independent indigenous people that help even Belize to grow. Garifuna and Maya are treasures to Belize, to the whole nation, because of our presence in where we are today in what's the southern part of Belize. Because of our presence, it's a part of Belize. And so the Garifuna and the Maya, not only do they bring the only culture that you're going to see in the country, indigenous culture, but they are a treasure that the BTB, the Belize Tourism Board, they use images of Maya and Garifuna and the sea and the natural environment to bring tourists, to attract tourists to Belize. And yet they are being unfair to the indigenous people by taking away the land. But guess what? The land is what makes us indigenous. The land is a part of our identity. And so if you lose the land, you will lose the identity of the people. Yes, sir. Sorry.
Yes, in the next 2 months or 1 month plus, we'll be celebrating 19th of November. Correct, right? We do have what we call a reenactment of the Garinago arrival to Belize. This moment should be one of the perfect moments that the Garinago people signal to the government of Belize their reenactment, because in the reenactment, it does tell that we were rejected in Belize. We were rejected to come to Belize, so we were sent south of Cebu. That is in the reenactment of the Garinago. So from 19th of November, that can be a clear signal, because then we have a lot of politicians that will come by, and we have a lot of people who are opposed to this land rights situation. This should be the moment that the NGC and other organizations signal to these people via various statements that we were not accepted in Belize. Belize came to us because we were sent south by the colonial masters. So that has to be a strong message, 19th of November, to the government of Belize via our reenactment.
In fact, you know what, Brother Roy, they're celebrating it wrong. It's not when Garifuna came to Belize. Belize should be proud that they came to Garifuna. They came to us and we helped. We helped.
Yeah.
It should be the other way around.
We were rejected by the colonial masters because the masters did not want us Garinago people to mingle with their slaves. So they sent us in a location where we are not contaminate their slaves because of our rebellious behavior. They thought we were too rebellious because we had just rebelled against the British in St. Vincent, so they didn't want us to mingle with their slaves. So they sent us in a location far from their slaves in order for us not to contaminate the slaves with our mentality, because they couldn't have their way with us, the colonial masters. So Belize came to us. We didn't go to Belize. So we have to signal this via our reenactment, and the time is almost near for 19th of November in order for us to send a strong message. Belize, we did not come to Belize. That's a fact. We did not come to Belize. And if we did come to Belize, we were rejected in Belize. That's why they call us six.
Now,
Because
Pablo,
from Belize to Zangrila is 36 nautical miles. And we were not accepted in Belize.
well, I want
So
to clarify
that's
that.
a message that we need to give the government of Belize. We were not accepted in
Correct.
Belize.
I want to clarify that with some history, Pablo, because history will be our ultimate evidence in a court of law. It's the history. Now, the history says that Garifuna were known to be in Belize as early as 1799. Some people use the date of 1802. At the time, that was not Belize. It was not. At the time, what we know as the Belize settlement back then, or British Honduras, was only from Rio Hondo, which borders Mexico, and the Sibun River, which was actually still Spanish territory south of the Sibun to the Sarsoon River, which is today the borders of Belize. And now Garifuna came and settled in as early as 1802. Then more came in the 1820 something, 21, 20, whatever it was. More came in 1823, I believe it was. Then more came in 1832, and it's still not a part of the Belize settlement at this time. It is not a part of the Belize settlement. However, the British did have permission from Spain to go and log beyond the Sibun. Now, if you consider this a part of Belize at the time, why are you asking Spain for permission to go log? So that tells us in itself, it was not a part of the Belize settlement in 1832. So now, move forward, more Garinago keep coming, and the Garifuna villages are all now established. Now, there was a decree or some instruction by the superintendent who was in charge of the British Honduras settlement, who made it clear to keep the Garinago out of Belize settlement and keep them south of the Sibun. So he himself is admitting it is not a part of the settlement. He is saying keep them south of the Sibun. Now, in 1821, there was a revolution in Central America, and the Central American republics were one. They formed under the Republic of Guatemala, and then they all later broke away to become independent nations. In 1859, then the British made a deal with the Guatemalans in what we call today the Border Treaty, the 1859 Border Treaty, which defined the entire British Honduras settlement now to go from Rio Hondo in north bordering Mexico to the Sarsoon River bordering the south. And that's how, but Garifuna were there, Maya were there. So now how can you say in 1859, you make us a part of your country and then say in your history books that we came to Belize? We did not, because it was not a part of Belize at the time. And so that makes us indigenous because we were living without any colonial interference. We didn't need their interference. We didn't need their food. We didn't need their systems, nothing. We had all that as Garinago. We Garinago were free before Haiti. I want people to understand that. People think of Haiti as the only black country in this area at the time of slavery, and they rebelled, etc. We were already free. We had fought the French. We had fought the British. By the time Haiti had their revolution, we had fought 2 European nations. And we have treaties with the French and the British. And that is proven we had that way before Haiti. So we did not come to Belize. Belize came to us, as the good Mr. Roy says. And the history proves it. It is irrefutable. So then you must wonder, well, then why do the government and the British treat us as if though we're not indigenous people? Well, because we're black people, and at the time, remember, there were slaves. All slaves, almost all slaves were black. All of the indigenous people, almost all of them, they were almost all extinct. So you only had the black slaves left who had some immunity from the British from back in Africa because the British were dealing with them and Portuguese were dealing with them. So they had become immune. So the black people who came to this area, most of them were slaves, but Garifuna were not among those slaves. Garinago were free blacks at the very height of slavery. Garinago were free blacks. And Garinago were having treaties with the French and with the British. So now we come to Belize and they want to pretend as if though we are not indigenous. And I might say, we are indigenous to the Americas as we are to Africa. Because it's proven our DNA is 20% DNA from Americans, from the Native Americans, the real Native Americans. We're mixed with the Arawak, the Carib, I forget the other tribe, but we're mixed. We're African and American Indian. And the history proves it, and the DNA proves it. So we come to Belize, and they want to pretend that only Maya are indigenous. In fact, the Minister for Indigenous Peoples Affairs said recently that the Garifuna do not benefit from the landmark case that Maya took to the Caribbean Court of Justice, or that the government took to the Caribbean Court of Justice when they ordered that the government implement Judge Conte's judgment from Belize's Supreme Court. The minister says Garifuna do not benefit, but yet the judgment, the order from the consent decree in the Caribbean Court of Justice contains orders that will affect Garifuna. You as a court, I don't care which court you are, cannot take one case, make it affect someone else, and say that someone else has no say. But that's in fact what the Indigenous Affairs Minister said. And we hereby refute that 100%. And we say she was wrong. And we invite her to correct what she said voluntarily. We invite her to do that. Thank you.
Brother Joe, what's next for our brothers and sisters? What's to happen next?
The people of Seine Bight, they want to have a say, and they want a say in their village, and they have a right to that say. What has to be next is that, as Brother Roy said, Garifuna must go to court. We have to assert our rights and go to court. We don't need permission to assert our rights because the Maya land rights case in Belize already established that indigenous people have rights as indigenous people. We have rights, and those rights are, we have rights to our land, we have rights to our culture, we have rights to our way of life, how we use the land. And that means without government interference. So then Garifuna must assert these rights because the rights exist. That's what the landmark Maya land rights case concluded, that our rights has always existed. The judge in that case, Judge Abdullah Conte, he didn't say these are brand new rights, Pablo. He said the rights always existed. So if the rights always existed, the government was always violating our rights. That's the conclusion that we can make.
Right.
The rights always, that's what he said, that the rights were affirmed. And not only that, the Caribbean Court of Justice, which is the last level of appeal, legal appeal in Belize, said they reaffirmed Judge Conte's ruling. So it was affirmed and it was reaffirmed by the Caribbean Court of Justice. And yet here we are, Pablo, in 2021, after the courts told the government to respect the indigenous people land rights. And that was in 2007. And now in 2021, the government is still giving title away in indigenous people, or they're letting their land registry system be used to register land and to transfer land or to convey land, which the judge said no, to the government, don't do it. Here we are in 2021. And in fact, earlier this year, Judge Michelle Arana of Belize's Supreme Court also said to the government, you knew that you had this responsibility to the Maya. Again, the Maya took them because the government had taken, I think, over 30 acres of land without even talking to them, getting their free prior informed consent, or without compensating them. And the judge in that case ruled that the government was wrong. They violated the Maya right to free prior and informed consent before they took their land or used their land. And the judge awarded the Maya back the land that was unused. And she ordered the government to pay for the damage that the government had done to people's farms because they had already used some of the land. So the judge gave the Maya relief. And this is in 2021. And here we are, and the government of Belize still is allowing the land registry to exchange land that belongs to indigenous people, in this case, the Garifuna. The government is still pretending that Garifuna is not indigenous and don't have land rights, and that they don't have to respect our land rights. And that's what this is about. I think Sister Cynthia said that the government needs to respect our rights. They need to respect us as Garifuna, because Garifuna nation in Belize is on the same level as the Belize government. We're not a culture group. We're not a culture group. We're a nation. We're a nation.
Hello?
All right? Thank you. Yeah.
Hello? I got one more thing that I wanted to say, that the chairman said, and the Zabad
We're having a connection issue. Yeah, looks like we're having a connection issue.
Okay,
Yes.
let me continue until they come back, if I may, Brother Pago. So
Sure.
the whole issue, I personally believe, is in a study that hints at it that I recently went through by someone named Alex Goff, who is a professor of anthropology, legal anthropology. He did a study on Garifuna legal anthropology, which was very interesting. Basically, I think that the question he asks without asking is that, how come they treat the people who look like Maya, like a Native American, as indigenous, but the Black people who are indigenous, as the Garifuna, are not treated that way? And I believe personally that it is rooted in racism. That's what I believe. That's why the government continues to take our land, because they see us as former slaves rather than what we are, indigenous people who were an independent nation state. We had an independent nation state. We were not just a cultural group for someone's entertainment. We have a nation state. We have our own institutions. We had our own economy, which were all interrupted by the European invasion. All of it was interrupted. And so maybe we, at some point, we need to have some kind of reparatory justice performed upon Garinago for all of the harm they did. But we're still standing. We're still here. We've been badly damaged, but we're still here. So we have to take this as Garinago, and we have to use this to our advantage to grow and to retrieve our culture in a very strong way, to live by our own philosophy in this world that's demanding that we be urbanized and that we be seen as the same as the people who were former slaves, that we be seen in the same light, but we're not. We are not. Internally, we are vastly different, with a very vastly different history of how we all came here. And so we should be treated in a way according to our history of being an independent nation here in this hemisphere.
So that comment, Joe, is very interesting that you bring that up, because I'm thinking about what Professor Andrew Reed said on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
The reason that we're treated like that is because of this white superiority, this settler mentality,
Mm-hmm.
that we have been succumbed to for the past 200 some odd years in Central America, because
Yeah.
that's the same dynamic in Honduras.
Right, right.
The same dynamic. They told us that we're Afrodescendientes, meaning Afro-descendants.
Right.
No indígena. They told us that. The lawyers of Honduras, the state of Honduras, told us that you guys are Afro-descendants. You're not Afro-indigenous. So that's why they use that argument to negate us, our indigenous heritage.
Right, right. But
It's
they were
something that
corrected at the
we
ACHR,
gotta
as I
get
recall, they were corrected.
exactly. So our people, we gotta understand that we do have strong African phenotype, and DNA is a mixture of indigenous Caribbean and African phenotype, which makes us indigenous. And that's something that we have to understand. We have to understand. We can't keep on repeating this. Repetition is the mother of all learning, like they say. We got to keep on repeating this to our people, because our people think that we're just African. No, indigenous Caribbean or Native American. You know, we see it in our culture. Our language has Igneti and Kalina in it, the two root indigenous Caribbean communities, Arawak and Kalina, who both came from the Orinoco River. You know,
That's
so
the,
we
that's
gotta
the Garifuna culture.
right. The culture was cultivated in the Caribbean. It was totally cultivated in the Caribbean. It's surviving in Central America.
I think there's a lot of research left to be done on the ethnogenesis of Garifuna. I think that Professor Nancy Gonzalez, may she rest eternally in peace, she wrote the definitive ethnogenesis book on the Caribbean sojourners book that she wrote about Garifuna, the ethnogenesis of Garifuna. Yeah.
Right.
And I think that her book for many years will serve as the basis of any study to come. But what I find interesting about Alex Goff's paper is that he looks at Garifuna from a legal point of view, what the legal structures regarding their settlement in Central America and especially Belize Toledo district, how the forces of the legal structure as time went on affected Garifuna identity, the very identity, which we all see the identity has been watered down. And I think it's due to a lot of the abuse, the legal abuses that have befallen Garifuna. Today we have instruments that we can use to assert our rights. Those instruments being the many international treaties that exist, international treaties that are law, such as the UNDRIP, such as the UN, the ILO 169, Convention on Biological Diversity, the Paris Convention. You have the Rome. Many of those affect the rights that we can claim, and many other international documents. So the government of Belize has a history of feigning to be so dumb we don't know that we're breaking people's rights. They have. I think that the government of Belize has reached a point, for as far as Garinago are concerned, where we're tired and we're not going to take the abuse anymore. Now, unfortunately, Garifuna fall in different categories, and we've been affected. So there are actually Garinago who are fighting that the government continue to own Garifuna land and sell it back to Garifuna. There are actually Garifuna groups that believe that that is a good thing for the government to own Garifuna lands and for Garifuna to buy it back from them. so that they can get an individual title instead of keeping it collective. But history will show that if you own a land collectively, your people can survive, they will perpetuate into the future, and our future generation can carry on this wonderful culture. You know, I think history shows that.
And that's what needs to happen because we have collective rights in Honduras. However, there are persons that purchase the land from individual families. And
Yeah.
those families grant them those rights, or they pay someone in City Hall to buy the land off of them.
Now, let me show you something. Now, the international conventions are clear. Honduras is a uni-something state, but once they sign on to a convention, then it's automatically legislated. The legislation that Honduras signed on to, the ILO 169, is very clear that you cannot sell indigenous land and that only indigenous people can convey or transfer their title within their traditional norms. So any interference at any government level to transfer land of indigenous people, even if the indigenous individual wants to do so, is forbidden. And this is the reason why in Belize, my personal position is to reject anyone's claim they have government title for my land. How can you have a government title for my land? And what's more, I did not give you the title. I cannot make that, I cannot give you relief because you have that title. And you go to the government of Belize and you pay a bribe to someone who works in the land office to get them to give you title to my land. I can't give you relief. I didn't do anything. I didn't have nothing to do with that. So you have to go to the ones who created the problem, the government, and ask them to resolve your problem. I don't have a problem because the land is mine. Now, if I am a Garifuna who is very self-centered, and I will take land that belongs to all of us and sell it so that it belongs to one person, such as what happened here. The government, again, by law, by international law, should not in any way, shape, or form even allow me as Garifuna to sell my land or transfer my land through their land registry system. That's what was established in Judge Conte's ruling. The land can only be conveyed or transferred through traditional ways. That's very important to understand. So when people say, and I've heard this, oh, well, it's Garifuna selling their own land. But remember, the government has forced their land tenure system in our territory. So if Garifuna don't use the land tenure system, the government will give the land to someone else right from under you. That is a detriment to us because then we will surely fear if I don't use their system, they will give someone else my land. Then where will I live? So it is a way, it's duress. They're creating duress by forcing their land system, their land tenure system, where it should be indigenous land tenure system. This needs to be changed.
Now, there's an organization that represents the Garifuna community in Belize, and from what I understand, they're gonna sign a joint press release with Garifuna Nation. Now,
Well,
where does that stand now, currently?
well, At this point, I don't have a comment about that, but the parties can work that out, and I would leave something like that to the president of the Garifuna Nation.
Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
On that note, I want to give the last word to Sister Makari Arsul. I know Cynthia had to go on to a meeting. So Sister
Mhm.
Makari, you have the last word? She must be doing something. All right, Brother Arthur left us too. I guess he had to do something as well. So Joe, you have the last word, and then we could wrap up this conversation. But this is going to be one out of many because
Mhm.
we have to have continuous updates in this matter
Okay.
so that
Okay.
all of us can learn from it, and the YouTube community and Facebook community could learn as well, because a lot of this information people just don't know, Joe.
No, they don't.
They just,
I know.
you know, it's just too much. Our history is too dynamic for one sit down. You know, our history requires like a series of talks. So this is one out of many. Thank you for spending the time to
Yeah, it's a pleasure.
instruct us and to show us about this unique history of ours and the legal side of it as well, along with the legal instruments that come along our international human rights as indigenous people. So on that note, Joe, we're gonna keep this talk going, and we're gonna every time there's an update, please let me know so I could
Sure thing.
broadcast it on you.
Sure thing. Okay, very good. Thank you. It's a pleasure being with you and with my colleagues here. And I want to say that Garifuna history is more than just a treasure for Garinago. It's a treasure for the world. And
Right.
UNESCO declared us so with their 2001 proclamation of Garifuna being an intangible heritage of mankind. And I think Garifuna will take its place as a heritage, intangible heritage of mankind through our music, through our language, through our dance. And I think that all indigenous people make the world a better place. When we see indigenous people versus urban people, one is not better than the other. The same intelligence that the indigenous people have to use in their land, the urbanite is using to live in the urban jungle. Different jungles, different species of building, trees, etc. Okay.
Good night,
So with that,
everyone. Bye.
I'll say good night.
Thank you. Bye.
Yes.
Thank you from Seine Bight. Thank you from Seine Bight.
Thank you from Seine Bight Belize.
That's Cynthia, Laverne, Macaria, Arthur. Thank you.
Thank you for joining
Thank
us.
you.
All right.
Sarah May.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Chanson Talang. Pardon?
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Ayun,
Hey,
very much.
ayo. So
Ayo.
yeah, please continue.
Yeah, that was the end of it for me,
Okay.
Brother Pablo. Best to you. And I want to thank anybody who come and listen and learn about Garifuna plight.
Yes, this is our common struggle. This is our common struggle, and we need to support each other in this struggle. It's not an individual struggle. If you're a Garifuna person, it is your birthright to learn about this struggle and get involved. That's my opinion.
Exactly.
You know, I'm doing my part by broadcasting this throughout the world so everybody can see. And to engage other people too and educate others. Just like the same way we're doing with Garifuna Nation and with Garifuna University Without Walls. We try to educate our community because we know there's an educational issue in our community, especially when it comes to exercising our international human rights and indigenous rights as well. So slowly but surely, we're definitely working towards educating our community more. So
Right.
again, thank you for taking your time for educating us, Brother Joe.
My pleasure, man. My pleasure. Anytime you need the help, I'm more than willing to be a part of it, Brother Pablo.
Okay, sounds great. Thank you so much.
Sereme,
So
Guyon.
So I'm gonna go to our closing up songs. I'm gonna wrap up with a couple of Garifuna songs that made a lot of impact in international stage.
Daruwane gibina luni medigo Daruwane gibina luni medigo Kaba honi de honi familia Cabagonile, honey familia. Ibe alona, Dios amor. Ibe alona, Dios amor.
Process, but in most cases that process will lead to them being sent back home.
Immigration rights advocates have protested the president's deportation strategy.
Bambuna ya madimoni ya laude, vende kanya tia bambuna ya laude. Dimoni ya laude, vende kanya tia bambuna ya madimoni ya laude, vende kanya tia bambuna ya madimoni ya laude. Dimoni ya laude, vende kanya tia bambuna ya madimoni ya laude, vende kanya tia bambuna ya madimoni ya laude. Dimoni ya laude, vende kanya tia bambuna ya madimoni ya laude, vende kanya tia bambuna ya madimoni ya laude. Dimoni ya laude, vende kanya tia bambuna.
It's a song that I used to hear with my grandmother. It was from a group from Belize. I think his name was Isabel Flores. I still have the record here behind me. So,
Haini yangu sangu lwago nuna gule hani yangu sangu lwago nuna gule ligira muga Haini yangu sangu lwago nuna gule hani yangu sangu lwago nuna gule ligira muga Ini yangu beru suleni mina yale na warubi Lungarita kuwa gule me ai ni aku beru sule hani mina ya ale na warubi Lungarita kuwa gule me ai ni aku beru sule ni mina ya ale na warubi Lungarita kuwa gule me ai ni aku beru sule hani mina ya ale na warubi Lungarita kuwa gule me Wabu nuna kule, hani yangu semu. Wabu nuna kule likida muka. Ai ni yangu sangu. Wabu nuna kule, hani yangu semu. Wabu nuna kule likida muka. Yangu binu suleni midayale. Nawa dubai. Aku bersule, ani mina ya ale, nawa dubai, lungarita kuwa gule, ani aku bersule, ani mina ya ale, nawa dubai, lungarita kuwa gule, ani aku bersule, ani mina ya ale, nawa dubai, lungarita kuwa gule. Sigala, nyutu ya mediga, mandari lumute, sunu sini sande. Nyutu ya sigala, nyutu ya mediga, mandari lumute, sunu sini sande. Ay ni aku be, usule ni midayale. Nawa dubai, lungarita kuwa gule. Ay ni aku be usule, ani midayale. Nawa dubai, lungarita kuwa gule. Ay ni aku be usule. Nawa dubai, lungarita kuwa gule. Ai ni aku bersule, ani mina ya ale. Nawa dubai, lungarita kuwa gule. Wanile, wanigule. Wani wani le, wani le le le, le wani wani le 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 le, wani le wani wani le, wani wani le, wani le 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 le, wani le wani wani le, wani wani le, wani le 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 le.
want to show you guys the online university that Garifuna Nation has established for Garifuna people to learn more about the Garifuna language and about their indigenous rights. We have several courses that are currently active right now for the fall 2021 semester. We have a class or course in Garifuna customary land rights taught by Brother Joseph Guerrero and Wellington Ramos. That's every Sunday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. To register to these courses, when you get into the GATU website, the first thing you're going to do is click on login. You're going to go to register. After you fill in your username, I usually log in with my email account, so it's easier for me to remember. Once you create an account on GATU Online Learning, then you're gonna have the option to select one of these or all of these several courses. I'm enrolled in a couple of courses because I wanna educate myself in regards to the Garifuna experience. As I alluded to earlier, Garifuna customary land rights is taught by Brother Joseph Guerrero and Wellington Ramos. We have a class in Introduction to Spoken Garifuna for non-speakers. We also have a Garifuna critical thinking class in which I co-lecture with Brother Egbert Higinio and Rodney Sambola. There is a course for in English as a second language for Spanish and Garifuna speakers. So if you want to learn Garifuna, that's a course for you. We have a course in Introduction to Marine Biology by Brother Rodney Sambola from Nicaragua. We have a course in Introduction to Garifuna Leadership by Brother James Eligio. We also have a course in Garifuna language, using music as a vehicle. This course is very interactive, a lot of sing-along songs in Garifuna to learn the Garifuna language. So I invite everyone to log into GARIU, that's GARIUWW.org, register and start taking these wonderful courses. So one of my favorite tracks. So before I end this conversation, I definitely want to remind everyone to donate to the Garifuna Nation and to the Garifuna University Without Walls. This is something that's beneficial to the community. So if you want to keep us going, you're free to donate. There's a donate tab in garifunanation.org, the upper right-hand side. And there's the donate tab in Garifuna University Without Walls webpage. Now I'm gonna end this, this is definitely the last one because I gotta go. I'm gonna end this with our
A Dropbox family plan gives you
one of our
5 loved ones.
ancestral songs in the community. The Good is one of our ancestral songs. It's part of it's part of a ceremony. And it's called The Good. That's the name of our worldview, rather. And it's a series of ceremonies that we conduct. There's the Good, there's a Chugu. It's very elaborate. This is the essence of the Garifuna community. This type of music here, which I participated in a celebration, sort of like a Thanksgiving for us. The Good is a Thanksgiving for us, in which we pay homage to our ancestors. When somebody gets sick, or there's inner conflict within a family, we usually engage in the Good ceremony to celebrate our oneness and the essence of us being Garifuna and to bring peace and harmony to the family. So the music goes like this. This is the song.
Dania Buye, Abe Yarugo, Yamago, Dania Buye, Paniye, Yarugo, Ibende. zuatia buaguya. Madurene zuatia buago ibare. Madurene zuatia buago adagayo. Ibare. Madurene zuatia buago ibare. Madurene zuatia buago adagayo.
So this weekend, I have a talk on Saturday. I'm not sure what time. I think it's gonna
A
be
Dropbox
1 o'clock.
family plan gives you and 5 loved ones your very own Dropbox account to store memories.
It's gonna be at 1 o'clock with the brother from Ghana, but he has a Garifuna grandmother from Belize. So we're gonna have a very, very insightful conversation because he's into the culture, Ghana culture, and I'm into the Garifuna culture. So it's gonna be a cultural exchange on Saturday. I hope you guys will join me. It's gonna be, I believe, at 12:30 this Saturday coming up. Buiti Gunyo. Ayo. Good evening.